Welkom hier bij RedBul. Het is een track van Pierre Kwenders Le Motel, Brusselse Congolese connectie via Moonshine, Vai de C. En nu gaan we naar de song van IKOQWE, die hebben we straks ook te gast in de studio hier. IKOQWE Lissabon, duo Batida Ikonoklasta. En dit is een track uit de medium Meio, featuring Celeste Mariposa. Zo dadelijk hebben we Pedro Coquenao van IKOQWE als gast hier in de studio. Tot zo.
Facebook Live or sent classified information for WikiLeaks. One man made a series of pronouncements about the changing media landscape. His name was Marshall McLuhan, and you probably heard his most quoted line. The medium is the message. McLuhan theories were groundbreaking in the 60s, but if you read them today, they would seem prophetic. Something neutral. It does something to people. It takes hold of them. It rubs them up. It massages them. It bumps them around.
Ja, jullie zijn hier live bij Bruzz. RedBul Sepcat hier in de studio. En we speelden net een track van een nieuwe IKOQWE album uit op Crammed discs. En IKOQWE is dus de rapper Ikonoklasta en producer Pedro Coquenao alias Batida samen. En we hebben Pedro Coquenao ook op de videochat hier, nu live. Uit Lissabon. Hello Pedro.
Hey Seb, how are you?
How are you? You're good?
Yeah, I am. I'm fine. And you?
Yeah, we're okay. We're trying to enjoy the early summer here in Brussels.
Yeah, it's quite warm here.
Yeah, I imagine.
Beautiful sunset here. Yeah.
Yeah. And how's the situation over there, gig-wise?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I was almost thinking on putting out an artwork with the tour that could have been kind of the could have been tour, because all the possibilities, the possibilities were great, and it looked amazing, not in terms of numbers, but the places that we were supposed to play, including Bozar and venues like that. And then right now, I'm not sure if any of those shows is going to happen. Locally, things are moving like forwards and backwards all the time. So I don't know, like 1 month and so things were looking great.
Yeah.
Now things are not looking so great anymore. So it depends on the day.
Also
So
depends on the fluctuation.
Yeah. It's
like
horrible.
right now
Of
in
course.
Portugal, it's you guys in Lisbon and Algarve, there's slowly some cases rising up again apparently, or in the last week or so.
Yeah, I'm living outside of Lisbon, so here things are quite quiet. I'm on the countryside, so things are normal as usual. People work and it's like everyday life. But in the cities, things are very, very serious, as I think they are in most of the cities throughout Europe. Like I think most, of course, losing lives is of course above all of the jokes and anything that we can talk about, and the families and the pain of the people involved, of course. Yeah. But if you put that aside, I think the biggest pain that you feel throughout everyone you talk and that I reach out is actually the mental health issue. I think we are suffering a lot mentally these days. And it's very difficult to deal with that, because it used to be a kind of an artist's problem or eccentric people problem. But now it seems like it's like for everyone. And
it's for everyone. Like this.
Sometimes it's funny because now you see that we are all crazy in the end, but others is just it's a bit more painful, because you see that many people are really struggling to make things happen, and it's even more painful when you have like leaders and politicians and people making decisions that are themselves mentally insane, but they don't know.
Yeah, they're just trying to guess maybe what their voters want, or I don't know, try to be populist, or either being very strict as well. It's both sides. Huh?
Yeah, trying to show a kind of authority or whatever, like, or trying to please the crowd. So in terms of DJing, they are very weird now, because they are playing just straight hits, or I don't know, or trying to play what people want, and then that sometimes ends up not being music at all. So it's weird in terms of I don't know. Most of the leaders are not the best DJs right now. They are not doing a good work on keeping the dance floor.
No, they actually are stifling the dance floor now. They're like
yeah.
They're emptying the dance floors and emptying the place as well.
Yeah. They are closing they're shutting down the dance floors, which is even worse.
Yeah. Just before we played like the song "The Medium" or Meio, featuring Celeste Mariposa. What can you tell about that track that you produced together with Celeste Mariposa? How did that go in its work?
I know Wilson for some time, and he's kind of an underrated producer because he never put out anything. Yeah. He puts out some bootlegs and some kind of very limited editions on vinyl.
Yeah,
I have most
like
of
those little plastic clear discs. Yeah. I have as well 2 of those.
Yes.
So.
Yes, you are well informed, said. Yes, so he has a couple of those. They're very limited, like 20 or 30.
Yeah, 20 or 30. So it's
yeah, and then he plays records like no one. Like he's great in terms of music selection, but he's not that known or regarded as a producer. Yeah. So once I was listening to his SoundCloud channel and I was into his productions, and I was asking what else do you have more, and I heard this particular instrumental that I found very unique and very particular, and that reveals a side of Lisbon that many people don't know, that connects a bit of the 90s with what we are doing now. Kind of old school dance music and what we do now. So I thought we must do something together with this instrumental, and I thought it could be something good for IKOQWE, to add some message and to bring some meaning to the instrumental, because instrumental is, for me, it's all about Cova do Vapor, which is somewhere around Wilson used to grow up, which is the kind of the first beach you have in Lisbon on the south side that still has lots of industrial landscape. So it's kind of a weird place, because you have like industrial landscape, you have townships, and then you have the beach. So it's not touristic. It's a bit kind of outskirts of Lisbon, not so glamorous at all. But and that sound for me kind of reflects that industrial, but at the same time very African influenced music that we do in Lisbon. And it's at the same time not that joyful. It's a bit melancholic and almost dark. And I think that really applies to what sometimes we try to convey in terms of message with IKOQWE. So I thought it was a perfect situation where we have an instrumental that has no lyrics at all and the chance to put some words on it and to make people dance and eventually think if you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's also needed, like music with context, because lately music is getting more empty and more plastic style without real context. People talking about Gucci bags or luxury items and not really talking about real issues. I mean, that's really important to do still in albums.
Why just have yellow if you can have all the colors? And I do love yellow, but why just have one color? And we end up choosing only one thing because that's what works, what gives you more clicks or whatever. But in terms of DJs and in terms of the music that you pick, I'm sure that you can put all sorts of things when you have people in love of what they are living in that moment. The experience of the dance floor is very rich in that sense because you can see that democracy is actually possible or something better than democracy because people do accept difference, do accept experimental, do accept unknown. So you don't have to keep playing just what people are expecting you to play. Actually, I'm sure your DJ sets are not necessarily predictable, and that's what makes what makes you interesting.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, but
the
anyway,
same thing with Wilson.
Yeah, and exactly in our scene, I mean, our scene is small enough in that sense. We are trying to do special stuff, but it doesn't give us all the acclaim and the credits either. I mean, that's But we also have come to accept that.
Be ready for that.
We are ready for our own crowd, and we don't look to fill things with thousands and thousands of people and to play all the biggest festivals on the main stages. That's not our game anyway.
Yeah. Because I think what you look for, and that's actually what drives me, is actually to feel good things that are growing somehow, not necessarily real or genuine. I don't like those words, but like things that are like somehow honest and that are tangible, that you can look to the dance floor and people are smiling and you can talk to that person. The person is not just alienated. The person is there, and the person is actually enjoying what you are serving. And that connection, that more close connection, honest connection, it's what drives us. And I think
so. To really create, of course, it's not just not just survival. It's also just social movement.
That's it. And I think I really think, and if you think about history, that sometimes it only takes 3, 4 people, 5, with the labels that we work and the music that you end up playing, and me also. Sometimes you go back and you see that the structures are just like 3 or 4 people or 5, and they are making a musical revolution. They are providing so many chances for us to be inspired. So you don't need to touch more than needed people on the dance floor. You don't have to have 10,000 people screaming. If people are enjoying, and some of them 5 or 6 or 1 somehow is inspired by what you are doing, that's already enough for me. So I think that's where we more or less stands. Like, of course we want everyone happy, but if you inspire one person on that dance floor to do his thing or her thing or their thing, it's really you are done. You did your job well. So that's way better than having 20,000 people that won't remember more than, I don't know, the fireworks or the screams or whatever happened on that
the visuals or whatever.
Yeah.
This is also important, but anyway, music and the energy should count for more.
Yeah. I also love, of course, just simple food. Like a banana is very effective, and I'm happy with bananas and peanuts and water anytime. But it's good when you can taste, I don't know, different stuff, different things, and discover that actually your brain is ready to embrace more than that. And of course you can have fast food and you can taste all sorts of things. I love pop music, but what you try to bring to the dance floor when you are playing or to a record can be so much more. But unfortunately, in terms of being financially viable, of course, that doesn't translate to you having a great life. So it's an option that you have to make. Actually, I think there's no option, because I don't know what happened with you, but with myself, it's almost like even if I try, I end up boycotting the dance floor. If I try to be very effective, at some point things will go left, and it doesn't end up as eventually it should. But I also had surprises. Playing for huge crowds and people going after whatever you play. Even if you are playing just stuff that no one knows, sometimes tracks that you haven't released. So I truly believe that I think us as animals, we are most of the times underrated in terms of what we can achieve in terms of quality. We can be way much better, but for some reason we end up accepting that we are just, I don't know, a shitty race, and we keep on doing horrible stuff, and we think that's kind of being human. It's not. The adjective human stands for things that are way more consistent and do well to others, not just surviving.
Not just only survival mode and only like for your own little circle or your own little
being
self,
predators
little world.
and vampires. I think we can be way much better than that, and I think we have that responsibility because we are the first animals to have it seems to have kind of the idea that we are here for just a period. So if we have that idea, you can go both ways, or you think like, okay, life is really short, so I have just to focus on myself and forget about everyone
like short-term
else.
It's short-term thinking. I mean, that's not helping the planet forward, I guess, and not as a race either.
But if you think like, I'm here for such a small period, let me just try to, I don't know, to enjoy myself, but to leave the place as cool as it was, and eventually slightly better. That's the other option. But so it's up to you to decide. But we know how things are going, and unfortunately most of us are not opting for not making any harm to the planet. But we definitely have to push for that, because I think in the end, if you think about it, maybe the vast majority of us wants the better for the planet, but the power is within like a very small percentage that is kind of taking all the decisions for us, and that percentage is not connected with real life. They don't live the lives that we live. So
it's a bubble, the elitist bubble.
We must help them. They need our help.
we have to punch that bubble. We have to make that bubble pop.
We have to make them dance differently.
We're gonna play a next track that's called Bulubulu, and then we're gonna talk after some more. So stay tuned.
Dá licença, papai, tu tenho pressa. Ninguém tem doença, evitemos a conversa. É pro malhe, se não correr, dengue pode falecer. E já não ouvi mais nada, a mente super focada. A mata desse alta, sinto o zumba da katana. Se agrava, catinga, se cansa, salinga. Esperança que consiga, que a desgraça se evita. Desgraça se evita. Já andei, bué, falta muito. Já andei, bué, falta muito. Enquanto os astros não se alinham caminho, me agarra a ideia, cada amargo vivido estava escrito. Não aguardo o capítulo em que termina o suplício. E por fim, me são reservados sorrisos. De bom grado transpiro, não reclamo o destino. Do penhasco mantiro, se isso salvar os filhos. Entrei em delírio, tô com o pulso dorido. O calor é um martírio, vou perder os sentidos. Já andei, bué, falta muito. Já andei, bué, falta muito. Falta muito? Quanto tempo tive desligado? Onde estou? Morri? Você assim, eu Deus ou o diabo? O papoite do caminho, o caminho. Meu filho, quis levantar, desconsegui, atrapalhado, me senti. Por que razão esse fiquei mais baralhado, o homem tucarei no braço. E virando para o lado vejo um dengue. O que estava incomodado? O que está... Já andei, bué, falta muito. Já andei, bué, falta
Yeah, Pedro, we're back here.
Hey.
Hey.
Sorry for not having the image, but I thought that we were just on audio.
Well,
like,
we are also we're also on audio only, but also on streaming, so it's like double even.
yeah, no worries.
But now the viewers who are tuned into the YouTube now or through the Facebook of the radio station, they can now hopefully see you and me. Or people are listening on the FM, we say also hello to the people who are listening to the FM and listening to our voices. That's also just as magical.
Yeah, if I were you, I would just listen to us instead of looking at us. It's so much better because you can decide what face do we have, which is way much better. I grew up listening to radio, and that's what I liked. I never enjoyed meeting the DJs because they are always not as cool as we think. So
never meet your idols.
Yeah, no.
Hey, what actually happened to your hand? You broke your arm or you broke your hand?
No, it's just the IKOQWE spirit it was just here on my side, so
the bandages.
It's taking care of me. Yeah, I was just putting it on.
Hey, about the song Bulubulu, what does Luati sing about in that song? What does he rap about?
That song is great because we have had such a great time doing it. We had a great meal, and we were really tired after that meal. It was actually like a beans burger or something, and we were talking about being tired, not necessarily after eating well, but being tired out of all the stuff that we have been doing throughout the time, and this sense of giving your best and can keep doing things and keep running, and at the same time having this feeling that you are not doing enough. But the lyrics is so the chorus is about like I have walked so much and I have ran so much. Is it enough? How long does it take to get to where we are going?
So it's kind of like about the struggle of an artist or the struggle of
Is it enough? So that's the chorus. But then the story itself, it's very specific and at the same time surrealistic. It's about a situation that can occur in Luanda. And it's about someone trying to save a life of his kids, and it's very challenging to do it in Luanda because only by going to the hospital, it's already a challenge. You can actually suffer a lot just by going to a regular hospital. So it's about that, and because we were somewhere between talking and doing the instrumental and writing, and Luati fell asleep throughout that process, just because of the beans, because it was so heavy. That the lyric itself has that moments of kind of daydreaming and sometimes seeing things and being almost like daydreaming throughout the time. So it's a track that we enjoyed a lot doing it because it says something's very deep, as that sense of you always trying to do everything right, but it seems like it's never enough. But at the same time, it's about very particular situations of regular routines in Luanda and how it can be a struggle just to survive through a regular day. So it's about that, and it's about this voice that keeps repeating, "You are almost there. You are almost there." So it's kind of the way we are fooled throughout your life. Like it seems like you are almost there. You are almost there, but you are never quite there, and then you die. So eventually it's an invitation for us to enjoy more the moment and to enjoy what we are doing in that present moment. And that song was done in an afternoon, and we just accepted everything that was done in that afternoon. Even the vocal take that Luati did, it was the first take, and it has a mistake somewhere there, but we found the mistake so funny that at the end we just left the mistake as it is, because he's saying something. He was going to say something, but because we were just doing a first take, he says something like which doesn't mean anything. He was just filling the space. Yeah, and we just left it like it is because it was so honest to that moment of us creating together and making the song happen that we thought it would be the best way. It would be to allow people also to experiment listening to a song that was done in such an honest way, not necessarily overproduced or stuff. So yeah, of course, then it was mixed and mastered and all those violent things. But the basic was all done in that afternoon. Everything from sampling to playing the bass to to play with words and then to record it. So yeah, but it's mostly about being almost there and being on that track for too long sometimes. It's almost like a kind of a road to nowhere kind of thing by Talking Heads. Like you are just walking and walking and walking and you are not going nowhere. You are just being pushed to keep going, but not actually getting there.
Always traveling and being on the way, but meaning can be a metaphor for many things in that sense.
And for me, then you can analyze it in many ways, but it has to do with us. I don't know, our life, especially in the Western world, is planned always for the future. We are always aiming for something that will happen somewhere in the future, and you are always paying bills for having the things in the future. So it's a bit sad and at the same time ridiculous and funny. So you can, depending on the day and in how situation you are, you can pick and decide which one it is. But for me, it's also a reflection on how a burnout can easily occur, because if you are trapped in that wheel of just, you are obliged to give more and more and more and more and more and never is enough, that you may end up burned out and completely drained and exhausted. So be careful with that.
Okay, we're gonna go to our next one. It's called Vai de C, and that of course as an expression, it's a bit more stronger and it's like referring to who in that sense. Like maybe you can explain to people what Vai de C means.
In Portuguese, there's an expression when you want to send someone to that place. It is very manly. It's like sending you to the dick, which is very specific, like as if it was a problem. I don't know. It's a very, literally speaking, is like vai para o caralho, é tipo go straight to a dick. And we decided to tell it the other way, because it's kind of a very arguably way of empowering both sexes, I guess. So it's kind of almost being able to be rude using any sex you want, because if you are using sex as an aggression, maybe it's more honest to assume that the male sex, maybe no, it is definitely the aggression throughout the human history. Unfortunately, it's probably the one that has been more aggressive throughout history. If you don't count with I don't know, very exceptional tribes where women had the power, but mostly it's just us joking and trying to subvert things and trying to speak the other way, instead of being just manly based on cursing, is trying to reverse things. But the rest of the lyric is mostly also the characters themselves presenting where do they come from, how do they feel about this planet, what do they see, the people that they see that are being the most preeminent just now, and them at the end having this feeling that maybe they should just leave the planet. So it's a very biographical song by both characters, IKOQWE.
All right, we're gonna launch it. See you after the song. We speak a bit more after the song.
Gente boa que sonha sem vergonha, porque o sonho não magoa e não vira a cara a luta se esta chega à sua zona. Onde foi a malta toda para receber as boas novas? No boda é só mexer a cauda e beber tipo esponja. Desconto só da frase e não temos nada contra. Desmonta a majestade, falemos como pessoas. Embora sejamos mais patrulhas, por baixo destas fronhas, mano, encontras boa rolha. Nossa estrada é longa, zigue-zague e roscas. Trilhamos com confiança, blindados contra a peçonha de tropas que querem nos dar bronca e afiam ponto e mola, mas nos fintam com lisonja. Gente tóxica, zarolha, bacoca, capona, subtrai, não adiciona, conosco vão de cona. Vai, vai, vai. Que às vezes 2 passos em frente obrigam para trás, então recua, recua. A batalha não faz a luta, recua, recua. Cada etapa com as suas luas, recua, recua. Com as quedas visão se apura, recua, recua. Quando avanças ninguém segura. Vai, 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 vai. Por aí, chuchos cabeludos, gente em cabeça tá só nos vai manter lá. bebê com o intuito mesmo de ir ao encontro do Alzheimer. O mundo tem inclinado, tá a subir em todo lado. Aqui bongo faz trago, ali juiz é transmitado. Processa-se criticado, cita a Bíblia condenando. A vítima provando uma moca no cachaço. Tem Orbán, tem Bolsonaro, Erdogan, tem Netanyahu. Tem tropa desmiolado, que não chegou lá vai chegando. E nós, pausados, apreciando o cenário, esperando. Nunca ser jamaicano, nunca ser tramancado. Nunca ser violentados pelos uniformizados que deviam tranquilizar-nos. Nunca ser alvo de um estado mal intencionado e aguardando que os putos fiquem altos e nos mandem pro caralho.
E assim, viemos, semeamos e vamos levantar o nosso voo de volta para o nosso planeta, porque aqui não encontramos muitos ouvidos dispostos a ouvir. Então, IKOQWE deixaram sua semente, pegaram no seu iate azulinho, subiram no seu planeta de regresso. Fiquem bem terráqueos. Nosso carro vai de liquidação. Magnetismo, amor, energia.
Eita galera, o teu ego se atreve. Só merda que ingeres, vens em peças inertes. O que é que me pedes? Outra face não confere. Aqui não tem candomblé, aqui é Makumba. Bateste a porta certa, com a atitude errada. Aqui não encontras serras, com a espinha dobrada. Aqui na nossa tumba só sai Makumba e tu gritas para. Aqui na nossa tumba só sai Makumba e tu gritas para. Mostrei calmo viste malo, aí o gato foi escaldado. Então enquanto o teu formato for diabo, nos bebes anos. Mijas quitado, se o estrelho é grande, nada te vale. Teu chão se abre, miúdos pequenos que tempo não usa. Pisas no peito, aguenta Makumba. Construíste o teu pedestal, daí de cima nos vês sisal. Só para pisar, de que serve ter tudo afinal. Nada te educa a ser racional. Se quando vazares vai deixar tal família em balo no tribunal. Mas seja não ouve e bem mal. Faz do teu jeito, a vida é tua. Mas no teu eixo não me procurem. Vi do desejo, não prova fruta. Também mais feio, maior altura. Houve o conselho para ser adulta. Mas se a teimosia temos cura, não se admira com as premuras. Vais perder mania com a Makumba.
Ja. We zijn hier nog altijd bij Bruzz, RedBul Up. We hebben nog altijd Pedro Coquenau, a.k.a. Batida. En ook van het IKOQWE-project. Samen met Ikonoklasta, die helaas hier vanavond niet bij kon zijn. Maar Pedro, de producer en de componist van alle tracks, is hier wel. Pedro, you're still here with us. So I played like the Vai de C track and then also the Makumba track. What can you tell us about Makumba? It's in a more Kuduro, a Luanda Kuduro style vibe.
I don't know exactly what that track is, but it was a very it was one of the most challenging tracks I've done since the beginning, because that track started as an instrumental of my first ever record back in 2009. It was done somewhere in 2008.
Yeah.
And the track is based on a field recording instrumental that was so hard to play that the track seemed impossible to finish, because it was very difficult to put it on a 4x4 situation. So the track took a lot to finish, and when it was finished, it was one of my favorite tracks done for that album. I did it together with Bruno, with Beat Laden, and then the track stayed like that. And what he always said that he loved that track, and even live, because live it goes to other places. You always said that you wanted to add something to it. So when the record was mostly done, we talked on making a new version of Makumba. So it's kind of going back to an instrumental that already existed, that I don't know exactly what that is in terms of genres, but it's based on ethnic and traditional music from outside of Luanda. So it's very tribal in that sense, and it's dedicated to a woman. But somehow the track has kind of always, to everyone involved in the process, even when I'm preparing the shows or whatever, the track has somehow certain powers that I cannot explain, but it always changes the moods. It always messes up with our heads in some sense. So it ended up being called Makumba, because Makumba stands for magic, and some sort of unexplainable things that you can do with your mind. And the lyrics stands for that, stands for talking about the magic powers within those rituals. So yeah, it was a long ride doing that track, but it's mostly based on this traditional ethnic, tribal, old music, but folk music, not necessarily music from the city.
Yeah. All right, and so what's up next this summer? It's gonna be mostly in Portugal, playing some festivals and some gigs, or still some touring in Europe, or maybe even to Belgium, or that's
yeah, it's the tour that could have been.
Yeah, the tour that could have been. Yeah.
It's looking great. It involves going to Belgium, yeah. It involves going to Beaux Arts. It involves going to London. It involves going to France, and going to many fantastic places. But right now, I'm not really sure. Some of them were already postponed. Like there was a chance for England by the end of this month that was postponed for the next year. There was a chance for Belgium that I think it won't happen. It will be postponed again for next year, even though we were more than ready to do it. I don't know, it won't be so much playing throughout Portugal, because in Portugal now shows are not happening that much. Festivals, they were all cancelled, and the venues are all also dealing with schedule problems. So people are not booking shows right now. They are trying just to make the shows that were supposed to happen last summer now. All the big festivals were postponed, so there are not that many tours possible right here now. We are going to be together for 2 months, so we will be rehearsing and ready for the shows that can eventually be. But we are also ready for the possibility of most of them being postponed for, I don't know, next year, because the album has just been out in March. A new video will be out quite soon. There will also be a short movie being premiered in August, and more stuff to happen in September. So we will be working on this album for the rest of the year. So yeah, I think it's just, we were ready to go live even before the album was out, because we were together for a month in Lisbon just rehearsing. So the show was ready. Now it will be a different show. I hope that for the better. But the show is ready, and we are looking forward to take it to the stage, because it's different to play live, and it's different. The idea that we have for the show is different than eventually people are expecting. So yeah, I'm excited to go back to that experience, even though I have to be honest and say that I'm not that excited on traveling so much anymore. I don't know if it's something of this moment, but I don't know what happened. But with all this year, somehow the experience of traveling and moving back and forth, involving so many things, it's so draining that I'm not so excited on traveling. I want to be there. I want to play there. I want to be with the people, but the process of getting there, like talking about shows and keeping postponing them, and then having all different rules depending on the week, and then it's a bit
draining,
frustrating.
Yeah, it's draining and frustrating.
Right?
And I think it also has an effect on the creativity in one way or another, your mindset.
So I just lied. I was saying like I was looking forward, but I'm not. I'm looking forward for us to be able to have a human experience wherever. I don't know. It can be here, it can be over there. I just want to be in a place where we can feel that we are living that moment, that we can enjoy ourselves, and that we can somehow communicate and get inspired by each other, and eventually have the perception that we should have before, but now we are getting it as a clear thing, which is that music and the experience of us being together is really something that makes part of being human, and we need that to feel humans. If we don't, we start being and acting awkward and
more
strange.
like conditioned,
So
conditioned in bizarre ways.
Well, I mean, eventually getting into psychopath kind of thinking, like you have loads of friends, but on this square, and you have all your social contacts now through a camera, so it's a bit weird. So I'm looking forward for us to move to another place, because this place right now is a bit strange, but I don't want to go back to the normal, because the normal was
also not normal, actually.
So I hope that the new strange thing happens to all of us, and that strange will be very positive, and we'll have new strange good things. So I'm looking forward for that. And I think that playing live and us being together in a room and having the possibility to project your ideas and energies that we did on the album, it's something that I want to do. I'm just not so happy with the process of booking and not booking and postponing and doing the exams and doing the exams again, and being sick and not being sick, and having a vaccine or not. It's a bit too complicated for now, but I hope to actually just to be with humans soon, and to be able to share music and art and the stage and a beautiful place like Beaux-Arts, and to be able to be there and to break some ice and to break some boundaries and to kind of go back to a more natural place, that it was not the place where we were before, but eventually an older place. And eventually
we're gonna find a new place. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be also good, I hope, and I hope as well the venues and all that will also be set up in that way, and not anymore as what was done before by too much consuming, in a sense. More clever ways of bringing people together, more genuine, I think. Less like the cattle mentality of getting as much crowd in your venues, pumping them full, but maybe giving some more quality in return.
I think we will have those. It will be. I think we will have those, but I hope that the others we will have more certainty on that the things that we do that are not necessarily with a bigger scale are as essential as the ones that are on the bigger scale. Like, everything is important, not only the big numbers, like all the small gestures that we do and all the small connections that we make, like this one right now, they have always to be like valuable for everyone involved, and not just looking for numbers and being measured by numbers. Like,
Amen.
We have to be a bit more. You have to be more. I don't know, more human or more. More kind, more gentle with all things involved in this process of being alive, and not just like chasing for success or aiming for numbers or aiming for I don't know what. But yeah, we just have to be a bit more kind to each other, I guess, and to nature, including, of course.
We're gonna keep on the hope for the future, and we have to keep on working at that. And let's conclude that. We have to keep on keep the fire going, as I've been saying to a lot of people lately. And we want to thank you again for being here with us on the show. We're gonna play some other tunes by Moonshine and some other stuff. But your album, The Beginning, IKOQWE, people have to check it out. It's out here on the Brussels label Crammed discs, and you can get it. So it's an amazing, good album, and we hope to welcome you here after the summer or next year. I'm sure that's gonna work out.
Yeah, when you were asking, like, am I going to play a lot in Portugal? Maybe, because I'm from here, I'm living here right now, and Luati is living in Angola, but our label is from Belgium, so it could be also natural that we would play a lot in Belgium. My label is really a good part of this. As I was saying previously, an example of a few people getting together and making special things. Crammed is a good example of that. Very few people making special things throughout decades. So I'm glad and happy to have them as a backup team, making all these things happen and making us connect. So thank you to them, and thank you also to you for saying so nice words off the record and on air.
It's important to have to promote good stuff.
So
and stuff that is more tangible, stuff that is more deeper, and that's it. It goes with meaning. So we depend on each other, so thank you for that, and I hope that everyone who is listening has a nice night tonight and can enjoy themselves listening to music. We're gonna play some last tune, because I think also our show is almost over and the news is gonna interrupt us otherwise. So I have to cut you. Sorry, Pedro. But we talk soon anyway. Sure, for sure we'll see each other either in Portugal or either we'll talk on the email. And thanks for being here with us. And ciao. Boa noite. Tchau, boa noite. Obrigado de estar aqui com nós outros. Ciao, Pedro.
Een prazer.
Ciao. En we gaan door nog met wat tracks van de Moonshine compilatie met Bamao Yende. En we gaan zien hoe ver we kunnen gaan nadat Bruzz doorgaat. En hadden hier bij RedBul Up bij Bruzz.
Ekapila wetwe. Jonathan Bolingi Bangi. Ebabi. Kibutu. Kisege. Kibutu. Kisege. Kisege. Weston Michel Mukenge Shai. Boteki Lubangulu. Govandi Sambongo.
Tisipa.
Yo lingi kakabana wanako.
Tisipa.
Na fiesta. Ya cheche tina metro.
Tisipa.
Stefani la kayotu muta fundi yo.
Tisipa.
Pamono na boîte na kare babos keke. Moïse Samnani. Richard Kabala. Solo. Shaki Mole. Buki. Aye. Yo, Yaka, Pusana boy.
Tisipa.
Yo, no bengo beti malede koti.
Tisipa.
Yo, Yaka, kina gauche.
Tisipa.
Yo, Yaka, kina droite.
Tisipa.
Le président Stephen Bowie. Junior Mwaps.
Ja, wat geweldige tracks van Moonshine van de SMS for Location Volume 4 compilatie. Het collectief uit Montreal, gemengd met Parijs, Kinshasa. Mooie Afro-Pian of zelfs Afro-Global collectief. En er zijn wat tracks die we speelden van Bamao, Yende, ook met Vanyfox, Commeungrand. En nu, wat je hoort, is MC RedBul met de track Tibo, Tisipa. Geweldige track. En we gaan nog een laatste track spelen van Memo, Pimiento, de Mexicaanse cumbia-artiest van Brussel. Die binnenkort weer terugkomt na 1,5 jaar coronatijd in Mexico. Maar nog even de laatste paar tunes, laatste 20 seconden van deze track en dan gaan we naar Memo, Pimiento. Dank om hier bij Bruzz te zijn. RedBul up. Geniet van de zomer.
Idris Kalama Moonshine, Hassan Lola, Benjamin Katan dans le rap, Bercy Diamant, Eric et Tanepo.
You want to hear this show again? Go to mixcloud.com/Bruzz for this and all our other shows.
Goedenavond. Op het EK voetbal staat Engeland in de kwartfinales. Het klopte Duitsland op Wembley met 2-0. Beide goals vielen in het slotkwartier. Daarmee zijn alle landen uit de groep des doods uitgeschakeld. Engeland speelt in de kwartfinales tegen Zweden of Oekraïne. Die spelen op dit moment tegen elkaar. Er is heel wat onduidelijkheid over de jeugdzomerkampen. Organisatoren krijgen heel wat vragen van ouders, bijvoorbeeld of hun kinderen getest moeten worden voor vertrek en wanneer die test dan afgenomen moet worden. Bij organisator ID Kids staat de telefoon roodgloeiend, zegt